There are moments in life when everything seems ordinary on the surface, yet something deeper is quietly shifting beneath it all. Most people walk through their days unaware of these turning points. But every so often, someone begins to feel it. A strange tension in the air, a sense that something unexpected is approaching. Not chaos, not coincidence, but a moment that could change the direction of their life completely. What if that moment is approaching you right now? Think about the path you've walked so far, the struggles you endured when no one else seemed to notice, the times when opportunities appeared just out of reach, the nights you questioned whether your effort was even worth it. Many people give up during those seasons. They assume the silence means nothing is coming. But sometimes silence is not emptiness. Sometimes it is preparation. There is a pattern that repeats throughout life. Long periods of uncertainty are often followed by a single moment of decision. A door opens that was never visible before. A conversation happens that was never expected. An offer appears that forces a person to ask themselves one serious question: am I ready for this? Because when a powerful opportunity arrives, it rarely announces itself gently. It shows up suddenly. It challenges your confidence. It tests whether you truly believe in the path you have been walking. And here is something many people do not talk about. When someone has been quietly building themselves through patience, discipline, and resilience, others eventually begin to notice. Not everyone, but the right person. Someone with influence, someone with resources, someone who sees potential where others only saw struggle. Have you ever wondered why certain people suddenly receive life-changing opportunities while others remain stuck in the same place? It is rarely random. Often, what looks like sudden success is actually the result of years of unseen preparation. Growth that happened privately. Lessons learned through difficulty. Character shaped through moments when quitting would have been easier. Now imagine this scenario for a moment. You are moving through your life like any other day. You are focused on your responsibilities. Maybe you are still trying to prove yourself. Maybe you are still wondering if your efforts will ever truly matter. And then it happens. A conversation begins. At first it seems ordinary. But slowly you realize that the person speaking to you holds a level of influence you never expected. Their words carry weight. Their interest in you feels unusual. And then they say something that stops you completely. They make an offer. Not a small opportunity. Not a casual suggestion. Something far bigger than what you imagined possible at this point in your journey. The question is not whether opportunities like this exist. They do. The real question is whether a person is mentally prepared when the moment finally arrives. Because when something powerful enters your life, it can trigger two very different reactions. One is excitement. The other is fear. Excitement whispers that this could be the breakthrough you worked for. Fear asks a different question. What if I'm not ready? And that moment, right there, is where everything begins to change. Most people believe life-changing moments arrive with clear signals and perfect timing. They imagine that when a major opportunity appears, it will feel comfortable, obvious, and easy to accept. But real turning points rarely work that way. In fact, the most powerful opportunities often arrive wrapped in uncertainty. Why? Because true opportunity does not only test your ability, It tests your mindset. When someone with influence notices potential in you, they are not only looking at what you can do today, they are trying to see what you could become tomorrow. That is why their offer may feel overwhelming at first. It stretches beyond the version of yourself you are used to seeing. Have you ever noticed how people sometimes doubt themselves the most right before something important happens? It is a strange pattern. A person spends years developing skills, building resilience, learning through setbacks. Yet, when the moment of recognition appears, their first reaction can still be hesitation. A quiet voice inside begins to ask difficult questions. What if I fail? What if I disappoint them? What if this opportunity exposes my weaknesses? These questions are natural. Every person who has stepped into a larger role has faced them at some point. Confidence is rarely the absence of fear. More often, it is the decision to move forward despite it. But here is another layer that many people overlook. When a powerful person presents an opportunity, they are usually observing more than your talent. They are studying your character, your patience, your integrity, your ability to stay steady during uncertain moments. Influence recognizes influence, and individuals who have built quiet strength during difficult seasons tend to stand out in ways they do not even realize. Think back to the challenges you have faced, moments when things did not go according to plan, times when you were misunderstood, overlooked or underestimated. At the time, those experiences may have felt like obstacles blocking your progress. But what if they were actually preparing you? Life has a way of shaping people through pressure. Difficult experiences develop judgment. Patience grows when quick results are not available. Perspective forms when someone learns to observe rather than react. These qualities are not always visible on the surface, but they become clear to someone who knows how to recognize them. And that brings us back to the moment when an unexpected offer appears. Imagine standing in front of a possibility that could dramatically shift your direction. A new path, a bigger responsibility, access to opportunities you never had before. It is exciting, but it is also intimidating. Why does it feel so intense? Because opportunities like this do not only ask you to do something new. They ask you to become someone new. They challenge the limits you placed on yourself. They force you to decide whether you will continue thinking like the person you were yesterday, or step forward as the person you are capable of becoming. And that decision cannot be made casually. It requires clarity. It requires awareness. Most importantly, it requires honesty with yourself. Are you willing to rise to the moment that is presenting itself? Or will doubt convince you to step back from something that could reshape your future? For many people, this is the exact crossroads where everything begins to unfold. At this stage, something important begins to happen inside a person's mind. The offer has been presented. The possibility is real. Yet the decision is not simply about accepting or declining. The deeper question becomes whether you truly see yourself as someone capable of carrying what comes next. Because opportunities that come from influential people are rarely small. They often carry responsibility, pressure, and expectations. And that is where many individuals hesitate. Not because they lack the ability, but because the weight of the moment feels unfamiliar. Think about it for a second. Why would someone powerful choose you in the first place? Out of all the people they could approach, why would they focus their attention on your potential? People with influence usually have one quality in common. They are extremely observant. They pay attention to patterns in behavior. They notice how individuals respond to difficulty. They watch how someone carries themselves when there is nothing to gain. In other words, they are not just looking at your current position. They are evaluating your mindset. Did you continue working when recognition was absent? Did you maintain integrity when shortcuts were available? Did you show patience during moments when frustration could have taken control? These quiet decisions shape reputation long before any major opportunity appears. And sometimes, without realizing it, a person builds a level of trust simply through consistent behavior over time. That trust is powerful, because when someone influential decides to extend an offer, they are not only offering access to something valuable. They are also placing a certain level of confidence in you, a belief that you can grow into the responsibility being placed in front of you. But here is the part that many people misunderstand. An opportunity like this is not meant to make your life instantly comfortable. In fact, it often does the opposite at first. It pushes you outside familiar routines. It introduces new challenges. It forces you to develop faster than you expected. Growth has a way of doing that, and that is why the moment of decision becomes so critical. When you are standing at the edge of something bigger, your perspective matters more than anything else. Some people will see the size of the challenge and step back. They will convince themselves that the timing is wrong, that they need more preparation, or that someone else would be better suited for the role. Others will pause, feel the same uncertainty, but choose a different response. Instead of asking, "Am I ready?" they begin asking a more powerful question. What can I become if I step forward? That shift in thinking changes everything, because opportunity is rarely about proving that you already have every answer. More often, it is about proving that you are willing to learn, adapt, and rise through the process. And sometimes the person making the offer already understands this. They know you may not feel fully prepared. They know the responsibility might seem overwhelming at first. Yet they also see something you might still be learning to recognize in yourself. Potential. Not the kind that guarantees success, but the kind that grows when someone chooses courage over hesitation. So now the moment is standing right in front of you. The offer has been placed on the table. The path forward is visible, but it requires a step that feels larger than anything you have taken before. The only question left is simple, yet incredibly powerful. What will you do when the moment asks you to rise? Now everything becomes clear. The moment that once felt distant is standing directly in front of you. The offer has been made, the opportunity is real, and the decision can no longer stay in the realm of imagination. This is the point where reflection turns into action. Many people reach this stage and suddenly realize something surprising. The opportunity itself is not the most powerful part of the situation. The most powerful part is the realization of how much you have grown along the way. Think about the person you were years ago. The uncertainty, the questions, the constant search for direction. Back then, the idea of being trusted with something significant may have seemed far away. It may have felt like something reserved for other people. Yet here you are. Somewhere along the path, the challenges you faced began shaping you. The quiet persistence you showed during difficult periods strengthened your mindset. The lessons learned through mistakes gave you insight that cannot be taught in a classroom. Growth rarely announces itself while it is happening. It happens slowly, often invisibly, until one day the evidence appears in front of you. That evidence is the opportunity itself. When someone influential extends a serious offer, they are often recognizing a pattern of behavior. They have noticed discipline, consistency, and the ability to move forward even when results were uncertain. These qualities are difficult to measure, yet they stand out clearly to people who understand the value of long-term thinking. But here is something important to understand. An opportunity, no matter how powerful, does not automatically change a person's life. The true transformation happens through the choices that follow. Will you approach this moment with fear, focusing only on what could go wrong? Or will you approach it with awareness, recognizing that every meaningful step forward carries some level of uncertainty? Every individual who has achieved something significant has faced a similar crossroads. At some point, they were presented with a chance that felt larger than their current comfort zone. The difference between those who grow and those who remain stuck often comes down to a single decision. They chose to step forward. Not because they had absolute certainty, not because they knew every detail of what would happen next, but because they understood something powerful about progress. Progress requires movement, and movement requires courage. Now imagine what could happen if you decide to accept the challenge in front of you. New environments, new responsibilities, new experiences that expand your understanding of what is possible. Each step would teach you something new, shaping the next stage of your journey. Opportunities like this do not appear every day. When they do appear, they often carry the potential to redefine how a person sees themselves and their future. So take a moment and ask yourself a simple question. If a powerful opportunity truly arrived in your life today, would you recognize it? Would you have the confidence to explore where it might lead? Or would hesitation cause you to walk away from something that could reshape your path? The answer to that question does not just determine what happens next. In many ways, it defines the direction of the story you are about to write with your own choices. What many people don't realize is that the moment after you accept a powerful opportunity can feel even more intense than the moment before it. At first, there is excitement, a sense that something important has begun. But shortly after, reality settles in. The responsibility becomes clear, expectations grow, and suddenly the question shifts again. Now it is no longer, will I accept this? Now it becomes, can I truly rise to it? This is where mindset becomes everything. Because stepping into a larger opportunity often reveals a truth that few people talk about openly. Growth is uncomfortable. It stretches your thinking. It forces you to confront habits that once felt normal but can no longer remain the same. When a person moves into a higher level of responsibility, their environment changes. The conversations become different. The standards become higher. The people around them begin expecting more awareness, more discipline, and more clarity in decision-making. And that transition can feel overwhelming if you are not mentally prepared. But here is the powerful part. The same resilience that carried you through difficult seasons before is the exact strength that will guide you now. The patience you learned when progress was slow. The focus you developed when distractions were everywhere. The determination that helped you keep moving even when results were uncertain. All of those qualities were preparing you for moments like this. Think about how many people dream about opportunities, but never prepare themselves for them. They hope for recognition, but rarely build the habits that make them ready when recognition finally arrives. You, however, have already traveled part of that road. The reason someone with influence noticed you was not simply because of talent. Talent alone appears everywhere. What stands out is consistency. The ability to remain steady through changing circumstances. The willingness to keep improving without needing constant validation. Those traits quietly build credibility. And credibility is something powerful individuals respect deeply. But even with that recognition, the path forward will still require awareness. Opportunities bring exposure. Exposure brings attention. And attention can sometimes bring pressure from unexpected directions. People may question your choices. Some may doubt your readiness. Others may suddenly become interested in your progress when they once ignored your journey. This is another test of character. Will outside voices distract you from the path you are building? Or will you stay focused on the values and discipline that brought you here? Every meaningful journey includes moments where confidence must be protected. Not arrogance, but steady belief in the effort you have invested and the lessons you have learned. Because at the end of the day, no opportunity defines you by itself. What defines you is how you respond to the challenges that come with it. Will you continue growing when things become difficult? Will you remain thoughtful and grounded when success begins to appear? Will you remember the patience that shaped your earlier steps? These questions matter more than the opportunity itself. And as you continue forward, one realization becomes impossible to ignore. The offer that once seemed overwhelming was never meant to break you. It was meant to reveal how much strength you have already built along the way. Sometimes the biggest opportunities in life are not simply about changing your circumstances. Sometimes they exist to show you who you are capable of becoming when you choose to step forward.